Hello, welcome to Spotlight, the bright, arty yolk of the cream egg of man.
Spotlight, brought to you by the Isle of Man Arts Council.
This evening, we hear all about this year's Isle of Man Art Society Easter Art Exhibition and drop down to see preparation in progress. Hear about music pathways and some poetry from the 7th Manx youth bard, Ellie Reynolds. Remember, do get in touch with any creative artistic endeavours you might be involved in, planning, hoping to create, or really want to put in the spotlight. Poetic, got some of that. Theatrical, a little bit of that maybe. Musical, definitely. Literary, ceramic, sculpture, drag, film, mime, social media, digital, calligraphy. All the others, just get in touch. We say it every week, and some of you do. I'm sure there are plenty more who don't, so why not give it a whiz? Howard Kane at manxradio.com. C-A-I-N-E for Kane. Or just spotlight at manxradio.com. Love to hear from you. Get you featured. It'll cost you nothing. What have you got to lose? Get it out there a little bit. Who knows? So, since time immemorial, or so it feels, part of my Easter weekend has been dropping down to the Isle of Man Art Society Easter Art Exhibition in whatever venue it's been. We'll hear more about that in a moment. And the number of pieces of art adorning the walls of my house, tribute to that over the years. Well, you might have noticed it is almost Easter once again. I know it moves around unlike Christmas. And the preview evening ahead of a full public opening takes place just tomorrow evening, Thursday. To find out more about this year's exhibition, I spoke to Secretary of the Isle of Man Arts Society, Linda Quirk.
I think the first one was about 1964 and they've been on and off for a few years since then. Latterly, in the last, I'd say probably 20 years, 30 years, they've been continuous. So, they've been around for a long time.
And the venues have changed a bit, because I remember that used to be, certainly for several years, I seem to recall, down at the sea terminal.
That's right, yeah. That is one of the first places where it was on a huge scale. Before that, I think one of the original ones was in a shop in Strand Street. And then we've moved around a couple of times, tried the Villa Marina in different guises. We've been at a couple of schools, church halls, and back to the Villa Marina arcade.
And that does seem to be, it's been there for the last few years, I think. And that actually does, but to my mind anyway, it seems like a really good spot for it. It's
a spectacular setting, yeah. When the sun's shining in through that glass dome, it sets the artwork off.
So tell us what's coming up this year then, because it is a wonderful display of art, and there's again, as we always say, something for everyone and all sorts of levels as well.
There is, and the exciting thing is we're never really quite sure what we're going to get until handing in session, which is next week. We always encourage members during the year to take a challenge. Some aren't quite confident enough if they're new members, but we enjoy encouraging everybody to have a go. Anyone can submit. They can submit up to 4 pieces. And we've got lots of new members this year, so it's exciting to see what's going to happen.
And it's not themed, is it? It's just open that they can paint or put in pretty much anything.
Yeah, it's 2D and 3D. So we have lots of paintings, more paintings than anything else. Drawings, sketches, lino prints, that type of thing. And we also have 3D items, so lots of clay, lots of glassware, lots of different things, sculptures. We're never sure what's gonna arrive.
What's going to crop up. And a lot of work to actually put it all together?
Oh, huge, yeah. We'll be setting up for about a week beforehand. So we have all the boards delivered down to the site, the Villa Marina arcade. And then we encourage as many people to come and help us as possible. So we have lots of members that come to handing in and they're regular and they've done it for a couple of years. And it's great because they know exactly where to put the hooks, where to hang things, how many times you are going to change them from one board to another. The settings is quite important, as you can imagine.
I was going to say, who actually decides, if there is an individual one person, what goes where?
Well, it's a little bit up for discussion. It's sometimes a little amusing because you can think you've finished one board and then you come back and someone's taken that picture because it fits in on their board around the corner. So it can be quite a progressive thing throughout the day, but we obviously are up against the clock. So it comes down to we get to a certain point and everyone has to stop moving things around.
And do you get a lot of new members coming into the society every year?
Yeah, since our membership runs from September, and since September last year, we've had 45 new members join us. They all come for different reasons, some to exhibit purely. Some are interested in clay, so they come to our ceramics classes, and some for drawing and painting. A lot of it is social, so that's nice.
And are the people generally, are they people new to art or already established artists, someone who've been painting or creating or crafting at home?
Quite a mix, really. We're finding that quite a lot of people are returning to artwork. So they've done some maybe at ceramics at school, and it's another 30, 40 years before they return to it. So it's lovely to welcome those types of people. Most people are just looking for a space where they can chill out and socialise while doing some artwork, which is very relaxing.
And I suppose, yes, it's that, because you have still weekly meetings at the art centre.
Yeah. So we have regular open times where people come in during the sessions. Wednesday's a full day, and it's a lovely day because people come in for a social, have a cup of tea while they're there. Sometimes they bring their lunch too, so they make a full day of it. And those people have been coming on and off for quite a few years.
Because I suppose, and again, in a way, in itself, when you're at home, art can be, I suppose, a slightly more lonely pursuit if you're just painting away or crafting away or potting or whatever the case may be. It's something you might do more on your own during the sort of from month to month, as it were.
Yeah, I think when you're at home, you can be distracted by so household tasks. So it's nice to pick up your equipment, go to somewhere where you're not distracted, and do some productive work within a time frame, which I think we're all quite good at being distracted and procrastinating quite a lot. So yeah, it's good to encourage one another.
You got any pieces in?
Fingers crossed, yes. I'll be doing a prayer to the kiln gods in the next couple of days, and I'm hoping to have some pottery that I've thrown on the wheel.
Marvellous.
Yeah.
I always vaguely remember that from doing a little bit of pottery at school, that occasionally something would blow up and take some other pieces with it.
Yeah, it's always a worry. Yeah, it has to be a very slow, concentrated process. And so, yeah, I've got some glazing to do this afternoon.
And the other thing, of course, all these things, we were saying an awful lot of work, but it takes a lot of backing to actually get this thing into reality as well. It
does. That's very important. And we couldn't do it without the support. We have for the 5th year running, we've got Ramsey Krukul supporting us. We're delighted by that. They're very supportive and have a fantastic preview evening for their clients. And we're looking forward to working with them again. We also have a little celebration of the UNESCO Biosphere, and obviously living on such a beautiful place of the Isle of Man, it's natural that the land and sea appears in most of or some of the artwork there. We're very excited this year that we've got one of our members, Janine Skelly, who is releasing some stamps later on in April. And we're excited that she's going to be bringing a couple of those original pieces of artwork for display in the exhibition. We've also got, for courtesy of Isle of Man Post Office, some prints donated, which will be in our raffle. And the first prize for the raffle is donated by one of our longtime members, Peter Ledley, and that is a beautiful watercolour of the Erie Cushlan.
So the preview is on the 17th of April?
Yeah, we've got open to the public from the Friday the 18th for the 4 days of the weekend, and that ends on Monday. So it's open till 10 till 6 every day. Admission is free. We have a raffle, and there usually is around 300 or 400 pieces to look at, so it's definitely worth a visit.
And the other thing is, usually the vast bulk of those pieces are for sale.
Yes, the majority of the work is for sale, and they're all different sizes, so there's usually something for everyone to take home.
And following a chat with Linda, she said, why don't you drop down to see how the preparations are going at the beginning of the week? So I did. And it's amazing, as you're wandering around the exhibition, there is a vast array of different styles, different media. We've got some cats here. Next door there might be some flowers. You might recognise various scenes from the Isle of Man. There could be some abstract pieces around here, which are just more, not representational, but just more artistic. or just something come from the artist's mind. You get a real mix of the whole different gamut of different styles. And again, people who've been painting for years, people who are relatively new to art. And I think that's the great joy of this exhibition. So I've seen one or two here. I might go for one myself, you never know. Let's just go and catch up, see if I can find Linda, and yes, maybe find the president of the Isle of Man Art Society and just get their thoughts as we head towards the Easter Art Exhibition 2025. Here we are now. This is where it all happens. This is where it gets real.
Yeah, it's all go, go, go today. There's a lot of movement in here. We've got things moving around. Someone places something down and it's moved immediately. You've got to keep an eye on things.
Is there anyone actually in overall charge, or is it a group decision on how things are done?
No, I'd say it's a group decision. Everyone's got their own expertise in setting up the exhibition, so we all work well together.
Very good. And alongside you we have?
Diane Moore. I'm the president.
Okay. Oh, right. El Presidente. Yeah. So does that mean you are in charge?
I used to be Linda. Yes, yeah. I wouldn't say I was in charge, though. Linda's the boss.
She's definitely got all the knowledge.
Linda's the boss.
So how much work does it involve? Because it's a big space. There's an awful lot of pictures, a lot of work.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously it's been going for a long time now, so there's certain things that we've updated and changed the process, and there's a lot of things that we still stick to, you know, from the years ago when the original members stuck to. So it's a year planning, really, isn't it, Linda?
Yeah.
You know, from start to finish. You know, as soon as this is over, we then have a meeting, and we're then starting to prep for next year.
So what sort of things have changed over the years? Anything that people would notice?
Only more what goes on behind the scenes, really,
Yeah,
Linda.
the efficiencies for
Yes.
getting the catalogue ready is quite a lot of pressure, so we try to do a lot of setting up beforehand. We've got a sum up now, which is magical because that allows people to spend, and just things like that, really. Easier printing, and once you've done it for a couple of years, you know what you're doing, so the process gets a bit easier.
I mean, years ago, they used to have to write everything out, all the labels, have to check everything. Massive job, yeah. It was a big undertaking. As with now, we can do it in a couple of days. It used to take them a week. But yeah, it's good. Things that have changed for the good, I think, and more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
And what about artistic temperament? Because we were mentioning this when Linda and I were chatting last week, because obviously you've got a lot of different artists here. You have a lot of different styles, a lot of different media, and people presumably want them to be displayed to best advantage.
Well,
we try our best to place it. You do get the odd person doing a little sneaky in and trying to arrange the boards themselves, and then you realise they weren't on the helper list, and you're like, But I mean, it's such varied that we just try and make the best display for the public.
And there is an amazing, I've had a very quick skeet around now, and there is, I think we say it most years, but there is, I think, pretty much something for every taste, no matter what you're into, whether it's just sort of representational art, whether it's watercolours, whether it's pastels, whether it's 3D, there's all sorts.
There's something here for everybody, different mediums, like you say, yeah. And all pricing as well. They've got, price paintings from £20, £30 up to hundreds of pounds. So there's something for everybody's affordability, I would say.
And when's it actually open? Because we're here now when the work is actually taking place. I mean, how long have you been here all day?
Linda has been.
Well done.
Yeah, so it opens on Friday morning to the public.
Yeah, 10 a.m.
10 a.m. As an exhibitor, you have to have 50% of your work has to be for sale. All has to be new, current work. It can't have been exhibited anywhere else. So everything that's here has not been exhibited in any other exhibition except for here. So it's all current, fresh. So come on down, and something that you haven't seen before.
Marvellous. So preview night Thursday, and then Friday get in there and get those little red stickers on.
Yeah, can't wait. Come on down.
Get down there this Easter and enjoy. It might already, of course, be on your radar. If not, I recommend it to you. I have my eyes on one or two quirky ones, no pun intended, Linda. So get in there quickly if you're looking for some unique local art to decorate your home or perhaps office.
Spotlight, brought to you by the Isle of Man Arts Council.
We heard a little from Arts Council graduate intern Callum Rowe last week when we were talking about the Untold Orchestra's Island gigs. But Callum, of course, a fine musician and educator himself. And whilst he was in the studio, I took the opportunity to hear about his current project whilst he's with the Arts Council, called Music Pathways.
So this is my main graduate project, which is going to be running up until I finish the role in October. And it's called Music Pathways, Exploring the Modern Industry. So it's all about the modern music industry. I wanted to put this project together from a standpoint of growing up over here, kind of learning music over here, then going away to study at the Royal Northern College of Music, which is a really good conservatoire. And their artist and repertoire side of things showed us a lot of kind of good resources that we could use in our own kind of plans for our own future music careers. And I've noticed that there's not really any representation on the Isle of Man that offer this kind of thing. So I just wanted to give back to the community over here. These are all free sessions to attend. It's all based on facts. It's all actionable advice to help try and inspire the local music community to do better through their own music.
And I think now, if you're sort of starting out or trying to get into the life as a professional musician, it seems to me when I talk to young guys and girls that are coming up there, you really need to have a multifaceted skill set in many ways.
Of course, yeah. I think at the moment, what is it? I think according to Spotify, it's 120,000 hours either every day or every year, I'm not sure, of music that's put onto their platform. Which is crazy. That's more than you can listen to in a day, obviously. But I think that really to be able to shout and use your voice the best way you can, you just need to identify your niche and identify your kind of unique selling points, what you can offer. So this can be, you don't have to spend every single day on Instagram. You just have to have enough of a consistent schedule. So say if you're uploading once a week, something like that, it's consistent. People know to expect it. They know to expect, if you're just a songwriter, just upload for your songwriting. If you're just a guitarist, just upload your guitar playing. You don't have to kind of dip into this obsessive trying to catch the algorithm. If you just put out what you're good at and do it honestly, you'll gain an organic growth from that instead of the passive masses of constant views.
Good advice to straight start off, but you've got some sessions. I know you've already done one or two sessions, but you've got some more sessions coming up talking to individuals within the music industry to actually sort of hear from them, hear from their experiences. These are free sessions to come along to. Tell us a little bit about those. I think the next one, if I'm right, is on the 24th of April with Lenny Conroy.
Yes, so local gig promoter and director of Triskel Promotions, Lenny Conroy. A lot of you all know and love Lenny. So this session is going to be all about gig promotion and how to plan events on the island specifically. So if you're wanting to put any kind of musical event on, this would be for you. It's also going to be about general event management and advice outside of music. So this can be all about licensing, how to work with different venues, stuff like this. So even if your event you're going to be putting on isn't specifically music oriented, still come down and check it out. I think it'll be really good to chat with Lenny. It would be really valuable to chat with him too, because I know for a fact that there have been some struggles recently in trying to get kind of bigger profile bands to come over. Because after COVID, everyone's kind of asking for more up front than they would have beforehand. So it'll be good to have a chat with him about ways he's kind of getting around this, because he said he was retiring, but he keeps putting gigs on.
So the next session is on the 28th of April, and this is actually covering a topic we were just talking about a little bit earlier on there, streaming platforms as a tool for marketing.
Yeah, so this is going to be a solo session. It's just going to be me in the room. The last solo session I did kind of set the chairs up in a semicircle. It's really informal. It's one of them, you can just come down, listen to me talk at you for a while. So this is going to be utilising streaming platforms, for example Spotify, because they're the biggest. They don't necessarily pay you any money these days compared to what you would have made pre-streaming days. So it's going to be about using your analytics, using a Spotify for Artists account to find out where's listening to your music, find who your target audience are, and then apply yourself to start marketing towards these people. Say, for example, you won't earn a lot of money from Spotify, but if you can see that 100 people are listening to your music in some specific town, then if you're going to plan a small tour, you're going to go to that town. And it's also going to touch on the algorithm on social media, which some people call the death of the follower, but it's in other people's opinions, it's the birth of interest media. So this is kind of what I was saying. If you can tie your creative work to an interest, you can build a massive audience for free. And then if you've got some cool merch on the side or something like that, you can earn a lot through just selling that through your kind of free channel on your, say, Instagram page, something like that.
If you have any ambitions to make it in the music industry, whatever your age or talent or music outlook, I wouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth. A great opportunity to see and hear just what you need to get your music out there and get your name known, which is what it's all about. A little more, by the way, from Callum next week. We'll finish, though, with a bit of poetry and the second part of the chat I had with the effervescent new Manx youth bard Ellie Reynolds. And it's one thing I put to her writing poems, but here you are now then in your bardic role, the bardic year, so presumably there is an element, or quite often for the bards, they are asked to perform here, there and everywhere. Are you happy with the performance aspect? You seem very cheery and very confident in your soul, and you're obviously a good writer. So are you happy performing your work?
I'm quite, I'm quite the stage presence. I've done pantomime since I was 6. Did my first audition when I was 6, down in Peel, and I've been dancing since I was 5. So the stage, I've always said to my dad, the stage is my happy place. Mm-hmm. And I like to be in front of a crowd but usually it's to go into a role that isn't me. So being me as a poet on the stage it's quite different and it's quite scary, but I do still like I do still like the aspect of it, the performance aspect of it. It's definitely there still.
No, I know exactly what you mean. It's you're being yourself rather than playing another character, but which is a very different sort of mindset in a way. But you're still performing, so you still got your performing hat on. Yeah, which is very different. How do you feel? Your friends feel about it? We were chatting as we came into the studio, and you said you're off book shopping or whatever. Are your friends into poetry in the same way?
I wouldn't say. I think a couple of them probably would be in the same way, but most of them aren't. I had one friend who I helped with our English literature GCSE, and I'd go around to her house and we'd sit down and I'd be like, okay, we'll look at these poems today, and she'd just pick up her phone and I'd be like, no, we need to revise, and I think her mum was very grateful for me kind of pushing her to to do some poetry work, but she definitely didn't enjoy it nearly as much as I did. But they are all so proud of me, and they know what dark times my poems have come from. And I think one of my friends pointed out to me that it's really beautiful that something so good has come out of things that at the time were so horrible and negative.
Absolutely. And was the actual competition, as it were, itself, as you say, you were quite surprised when you were called in, but then you have to, when you're sort of put shortlisted to get into the final, as it were, you have to perform. Was that nerve-wracking at all?
Well, I was the only finalist there.
Okay.
So it wasn't too bad, but it was obviously a room of people I'd never met. I was with my mum and my dad, but everybody else was brand new to me. They'd all kind of been in it before. They were all had bardic experience, but everyone was so welcoming and so kind that it wasn't too scary. And there was less than 20 people there, so it was quite a small audience. So I was all right.
That's not too bad then. And you've mentioned already, I think, very laudably, like I said, your idea of going forward and perhaps using your bardic year to use your poetry, explore with your poetry and try and get across this idea of how it can be very beneficial for someone, maybe like yourself, someone who's been struggling a little bit with mental health, how writing and expressing yourself and expressing various things through poetry can be a real aid.
Yeah. Definitely.
Wonderful thing to do. Have you got a poem with you? You can hear today, perhaps?
I do, yes. They're all. I typed them all up yesterday on a Google document.
That's very impressive.
Because I wanted to have them all in one place. Because they're all in different notebooks and in my notes app and
good.
All over the place.
Disorganised like me. That's good.
Yes. all sorts of different notebooks. I have a little. It's that big, tiny. Book that I keep in my bag with me all the time.
I write things down on scraps of paper.
I'll do this one. I really like this one. I wrote this one on a bus at 8 a.m. on my way to Ramsey.
Wow.
Yeah, and it didn't take me too long to write, but it's one of my favourites. Shall I?
Yeah. Has it got a title?
This is called A Poet. Why do you write poetry? They ask, and the question washes over me, making me feel slightly sick. Because the truth is, I don't know why I write poetry. I was never shown how to in school. We read poetry, but never wrote it. And now I am a poet, or at least that's what they call me. I've always used odd ways to express myself, through dance and song rather than spoken words. Poetry, while words, is more thoughtful, something that, like a ballet piece, I can perfect. Poetry is a strange language on the surface. It never makes much sense, but beyond that, it's philosophy, beauty, treasure, recollections of the past and present to be reminisced. What I mean is, I write poetry to remember, to express a moment into cryptic, nonsensical words that possibly one day could be interpreted to allow me to finally be understood.
That's lovely, and a great, as you say, a great spontaneity to it. Is that the way your poems sometimes come? I mean, is there a set way? Do you sometimes sit down and think, right, I've got an idea I'm going to write? Do you just get inspired by something you've seen, someone you've spoken to? Is it just spontaneous like that? I'm on the bus, I start thinking, boom, out it comes.
They are often spontaneous, I think, but sometimes it will be a case of, I think I'd just come back from a ballet class one day, and I was just like, I love ballet, and I was like, I want to write a poem about ballet, and I had no idea where I was going to go with it, but I did it, which is rare for me. Or I'll speak to someone and I'll write a poem about them as well. That's a rare thing to happen, but it's happened a couple of times. But usually they are definitely very spontaneous.
Are you looking forward to the year?
I am, yeah. I hope that I can do things with my role and make an impact.
Lovely. And will you come back and do some more poems for us throughout the year?
Definitely, yeah, definitely.
We look forward to hearing more poems from Ellie in the weeks ahead, and we'll catch up with her on Spotlight to see how she's getting on in the role a little later in the year. That's about it for now. I'll be back next week when we'll be hearing about Eve Holden, amongst other things. See you then, whatever you're doing, be creative about it. Hey Moo.